Call this Topsham Select Board meeting to order October 5, 2023 from the Donald A. Russell Meeting Room. Would you all please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think we do call the roll, please.
David Douglas.
I am here.
Marie Brilliant. Here. Ruth Lyons. Here. Matt Nixon.
Not absent.
Roland Tubbs.
I'm here.
And our town manager Derek Skripchansky is also with us.
Thank you, Patty.
Welcome.
Town manager's report.
Okay, welcome everyone. Just a few notes. Absentee ballots for the November 7th election will be available Tuesday, October 10th. New dog licenses will be available in the clerk's office and online beginning October 15th. And what we've been working on recently, I'd like to kind of highlight for everyone. Staff has been working on a few items for select board consideration. We moved them to a special town meeting. We're preparing for a special town meeting on November 2nd, 6:30 p.m. at the Mount Ararat High School Forum Room, and move a select board meeting that night here in Town Hall. The articles to be presented for consideration relate to decreasing the area size of the 25 Hackmatack TIF district, which is the Fairview Commons Affordable Housing Project. We do have John Hodge with us here tonight. If anybody has any questions for him later. A land purchase, a signed ordinance amendment, and open space fee and lieu amendment. Regarding the zoning amendments, the signed ordinance amendment, and the open space fee and lieu amendment, the planning board will hold two public hearings on zoning ordinance amendments on Tuesday, October 17th. The first amendment is to revise the sign ordinance to allow for 400 square foot of maximum signage for business in the commercial sign district with a footprint over 60,000 square feet. This is an increase over the current 200 square feet, which will remain the maximum for businesses with a footprint of less than 60,000 square feet. The second zoning amendment is a revision to the open space fee and lieu calculation. With multifamily developments on the rise, the planning board felt it necessary to amend the fee structure so that the fee and lieu can be applied equally to all residential developments. The existing formula that we currently have utilizes the assessment of an acre of single-family residential land, not taking multifamily development into consideration. It also uses a number of units as a determining factor in the fee, requiring the same fee for a one-bedroom apartment as it would a single-family home. The new fee structure does away with the formula and uses a flat per bedroom fee, which can be applied to a single-family and multifamily subdivisions alike at the time of the building permit application. More to follow after the public hearing on the 17th. We'll go from there. A little bit of a timeline on October 19th, which is a select board meeting night here. The select board will bring for consideration maybe approval for the town meeting warrant and call for the meeting. Between now and then, we'll be working on getting the proper postings and advertisement of the town meeting to meet state law as well as our ordinances. And October. Yep, that'll be all. Getting a little bit ahead of myself, so I just want to inform everybody, these are somewhat time critical items. And, we have the election coming up, and the first new board, select board meeting will be on November 16th. That's all I have.
Any questions? Next up, we got board and committee reports and updates. Tonight, we've got a presentation from the Maine Law Enforcement Accreditation Team to the Topsham Police Department. We have Sean O'Leary, the Emily Project Manager, and Chief Ed Toland, Executive Director of Maine Chiefs Police Association. Sean appears to be first.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Chief Toland is not here. He was supposed to have surgery today, but he had bronchitis. So he is at home recovering from that. Thank you very much. My name is Sean O'Leary. I have 34 years in law enforcement. I retired as Chief of Police, but I also retired from the Brunswick Police Department, along with the Chief, Mark, and Bill Collins. So we're a happy family. My role for the Emily Committee, which stands for Maine Law Enforcement and Accreditation Program, is I'm the program director. which oversee all the accreditations of the departments in the state of Maine on behalf of the Maine Chiefs of Police Department. A little history about the accreditation. Back in 2015, several chiefs and sheriffs and the Department of Public Safety really wanted to have our own state accreditation program in lieu of the national accreditation, which is CALIA. The problem with CALIA is, one, it's very, very expensive. Two, it doesn't really fit in the model of small departments like the size of Topsham and other departments in Maine. Some of their standards, a lot of departments cannot meet because they're geared towards larger departments. So being proactive, several chiefs, sheriffs, and Department of Public Safety decided to commission a group along with some seed money from the Maine Municipal Association to come up with a set of best practice standards where an agency can be assessed to ensure that they are doing everything properly, that it's best, that their practices are best case. So through this committee, they developed 162 standards, which consisted of 12 chapters. Some of the chapters are organizational leadership, professional conduct, personnel matters, training, use of force, and property and evidence, just to name a few. These are high critical areas, because as we know, in public safety, as we try to reduce risk management through policies, procedures, and anything regarding that. Now, accreditation is a 3-tier. They have to have policies, then they have to train on those policies, and then they have to show proof. Now, under the leadership of Chief Hagan, they went through the entire policies. They had to update, review, and in some cases, they had to add policies that they didn't have that would meet accreditation. Along with that, they had to have the entire staff, sworn and unsworn, to fully read those policies. And these are very in-depth policies, and fully understand them and prove to the accreditation committee that those officers and staff have read and fully understand those policies. Then in addition to that, they have to, there are certain training requirements, which is above and beyond the required mandatory training that the academy sets forth. Because training is an important part of accreditation, it's an important part of a professional organization. Then you put all that together, then they have to, they just can't say, yeah, we've done this training. They have to actually physically prove that they've done this training, they've signed the policies, and over the course of a year, they've reached that point. I will say that some of the training, specialized training, it is not a rubber stamp process. It is a very detailed, oriented process, and it's a lot of work. And I'm sure that the chief and the lieutenant and Rob Morris will attest that it was not an easy task, because we would come in, we'd take a look, we'd go through like a mock assessment to see, boy, it's hot in here. To see where they're at, where their baseline is. So once they were all completely done, through my direction, I brought in 2 professional law enforcement executives, the deputy chief from Gorham and a patrol lieutenant up in Augusta. And they came in, they looked at all their policies, they looked at everything. Essentially, they took the covers, pulled the covers away, and looked at everything. A majority of the standards that we looked at were through electronic means, but then one day the team came down, met with the chief and his staff, and went through the entire department, asked a lot of questions, and that's probably the most stressful, because again, you're coming in from an outside agency. It's like an auditor coming in to check your books. What's more important, I think, is that in Maine, there's approximately 130 law enforcement agencies, state, municipal, and county. Topsham PD is the 24th department to become fully accredited. And that's through the leadership of Chief Hagan, and not only his leadership, but the buy-in from everybody in his agency. But I will also compliment the board and the town manager for supporting his efforts Because it just doesn't take buy-in, it does take money, it does take support. So everybody should be awarded this this award. Because what this shows the town of Topsham and its community members that the Topsham Police Department has reached a higher level of professionalism than other departments. Because we know through media stories, sometimes law enforcement is not looked favorably upon. But I can attest to you that them reaching this goal and this accreditation is huge. So at this point, what I'd like to do is present this award to Chief Hagan and his team. I'm going to read it. For serving as a model of excellence in law enforcement and successfully meeting professional standards established by the Maine Chiefs of Police Association and the Maine Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. The Topsham Police Department has reached the highest level of professionalism and integrity and is hereby recognized as a state accredited law enforcement agency for a period of 3 years. The only bad news is he has to start doing it all over starting tomorrow. So congratulations, Chief.
So thank you, Sean, and I appreciate it. And the one thing I'd like to say to everybody is we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Lieutenant Collins and Rob Morris for doing all the hard work behind the scenes and getting everything done and getting us through the accreditation process. So I want to thank you both, and we'll put this up on the wall. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Good job to you and your staff.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out, Chief O'Leary,
Yes.
I just want to extend my thanks on behalf of management, the board, and the town staff for everything that the Maine Chiefs of Police Association has done for us in the last 3 years. 2020, Mr. Tolan and a group of individuals came down to do a police audit evaluation, and we've come a long way since then. So I just wanted to thank all of you, the association, and of course, all the credit goes to the police department and the leadership that we have. But I just want to say.
You're welcome.
Next up, any public comment? Anyone get any correspondence? Any adjustments to the agenda? Consent calendar. So we got 2, approval of the minutes of the regular select board meeting, September 21, 2023. 2 is approval to open polls at 8 a.m. on November 7th, 2023 for the state of Maine general election, the municipal annual election. Open and process absentee ballots on the following days if needed, November 2nd and 3rd, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 4 p.m. or sooner if completed. Approve Linda Dumont as warden for the state election. Appoint Steve Littlefield as moderator for the municipal election. Approve the registrar to hold extended hours until 7 p.m. on October 26, 2023 for the purpose of voter registration and absentee voting. That's the council. Second. Motion seconded. All those in favor? 1, 2 unanimous. Next up is our annual public hearing. Consideration any appropriate action for MMA's new general assistance ordinance appendices in recovery residence housing maximums. We will gavel open the public hearing. We will hear about it. And when we come out of the public hearing, we will vote.
Well, everybody, once again, that time of year. Just need to have your approval for the updates.
And I just want to go over just if people at home, any changes, any big changes that you saw.
There are a few changes. There's an increase in A, B, and C maximums, and then also for the recovery residents, there's a little bit of an increase for that as well. The rest of them, D through H, there is no change. I did have appendix F, G, and H, no change, but D and E is also. And it's minimal, as always.
You don't have any questions? Any public want to chime in? Public hearings? We got. Close the public hearing. So I will just make a motion that we approve. Was it 2023 to through September 30th, 2024, general assistance ordinances and appendices?
Second.
Motion seconded, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Won't see you next year.
Sounds happy.
You'll be back.
2386, consideration and appropriate action on signing the warrant for the municipal annual town meeting on November 7, 2023. Anyone want to do this?
Yes. I don't know.
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't. So there's nothing to do that. We probably usually do that under updates, I think. Okay, so we don't need to, no, that's fine. I should have noticed it earlier. It said something. So we don't need to take any.
Already checked out over here, look at it.
Well, I read it. New business 2387, consideration and appropriate action on, just a visual of what's about to come. New business 2387, consideration any appropriate action to authorize the town manager to request an additional $200,000 from the Department of Economic Development for the Fairview Commons Affordable Housing Project.
Yeah, I'll just, Mr. John Hodges here, the Executive Director of the Topsham Housing Authority. John and I almost talked too much what we are already going to say, but he was informed by the ECD that additional funding may be available in addition to the $500,000 already approved by the ECD. Mr. Hodge has his memorandum attached in the packet, summarizes the project's funding status, availability of additional funding and project completion date, and John can answer any questions by more detail.
Yeah, good evening.
Just mainly, I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen it, but just anyone at home.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Topsham Housing Authority has been working now several years to develop 38 units of family housing off Tedford Road called Fairview Commons. We've applied for and are in the process of receiving low-income housing tax credits to help fund that, but it wasn't enough to get the project built, to keep the rents affordable enough for the working families. So we applied for the CDBG grant through the town. The town is the awardee. One of the things I want to make sure people knew, originally we thought that the Topsham Housing Authority would be the subrecipient because they are an interested party in the development. We're told by attorneys that the money should come in from a different subrecipient. So we're asking that the town award the funds to the Greater Brunswick Housing Corporation, who will then put the money into the funds. Topsham Housing Authority is still the general partner, still the part of the limited partnership, not the Greater Brunswick Housing Corporation. It's just the means of funneling. Don't ask me for any more detail than that because I'm not an attorney and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night.
Government laundering.
Yeah, so, again, I think the last time I was here to tell you how challenging this has been to bring this project in the budget with the excessive cost of construction these days. And, we finally got nearing the finish line. We're getting ready to get to a construction loan proposal, but there was still a gap in funding. One of the things we had done to try to address the gap was we made a grant application to the Finance Authority of Maine. They had a Thrive grant application for businesses that were affected by construction, COVID. That was construction that was impacted by COVID. And certainly the construction industry was affected by COVID. So anyhow, we applied. We didn't get that grant, so that left a hole in the budget.
I didn't either.
Yeah, you didn't get it either. I heard 1 out of 7 received those grants, and there was like over 700 applications. So I contacted the Department of Economic and Community Development. They indicated, yes, there might be some additional funds, and I was waiting for them to award the $500,000 to the town, sign a grant agreement, and maybe amend that and add money. They suggested, no, just go to the town, ask the town to make the request formally for an additional $200,000. If that's approved, then we'll send it up there. If they approve that, they'll send you a grant agreement for $700,000. And as opposed to 500,000. That money there, and as it works right now, is filling that gap. We have a balanced budget. Believe it or not, the cost for that is going to be $16.7 million. So you can see every little bit is going to help to fill that. That's how expensive it is to build housing these days. The good news is, again, that we should be able to get there. We hope to break ground sometime in December if everything goes the way it's planning to right now. So any other questions, certainly happy to answer.
32 units for 16.
38 units, about $420,000 a unit. And I will tell you, the biggest driver of that, no, it's ridiculous. The biggest driver of that is the road that we have to bring in, because the site we're developing is at the end of the parcel. And I did that strategically for two reasons. One, we wanted to put the 38 units together, and that was the largest chunk of land. It's divided by a retainage pond, so we couldn't build over that. And number two, by building and constructing that road now, there's other land there that if the town changes zoning and wishes to have more housing built, the road will be there already. That housing will be cheaper to build. So we'll see how that works in the future. But right now, we are focused getting that road built, and that's about $2 million in site costs. The road's not all of that, but. And I do thank the town granted us a tax increment financing district. That's the town share to help build that. And all the funding on other sources, like, what is the town doing? The town put a tip in there. And that is that was very helpful to get that down budget.
Does Brunswick Canada any indirect or administrative handling fee, or did we get straight up 200?
No, that'll get loaned back into the project. The Greater Brunswick Housing Corporation is the developer. We'll earn a developer fee, but we're splitting that with Topsham Housing Authority. So.
Any other questions? So it looks like we should authorize the town manager to request an additional 200,000 in CDBG funds from DECB. For the Fair Food Common Affordable Housing Project. ASAP. Second, motion seconded, all those in favor?
Who seconded it?
Rudy.
Thank you.
2388, consideration and appropriate action on a grant acceptance from the Governor's Office of Policy Innovation and Future Community Resilience Partnership Community Action Grant. Holy guys, tonight.
Okay. In June of 2023, this past year, the town submitted an application to the Governor's Office of Policy Innovation and Future Community Resilience Partnership for a community action grant. The application was submitted for the purpose of funding an update to the 2010 Climate Action Plan. And we recently received news 2 days ago that the Town of Topsham was awarded the full $50,000. So that's good news. In your packet, we weren't sure yet what that would be, so that's definite. The Climate Action Plan update will provide a framework for the Town of Topsham and its residents to understand the inherent risks due to climate change and measures to consider to adapt to and mitigate those risks, as described earlier this year. Important goals included integrating a resilience chapter and a vulnerability assessment addendum to the 2010 plan. Education outreach events for the project will be planned for Topsham residents as well. The funding allows for the hiring of a consultant, funding project management and other incidental expenses. And the project is expected to be complete and a draft in our hands prior to the May 2025 town meeting for consideration. I'd also like to thank the Energy Committee and those involved in the planning department, Sky in particular, our town planner, for moving this along. The Energy Committee has been very active in helping the town staff identify these grants, and a lot of great things have come from that committee. So I just want to say thanks to all of those involved.
Spend some money on consultants. Don't we? Everything has a consultant. Any questions of the manager? Nothing. So make a motion to formally accept the community action grant funds of $50,000 for the climate action plan update. Second. Motion seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous. Executive session 2389. Enter executive session pursuant to 13 MRSA subsection 4056C to discuss the acquisition of real property where premature disclosure of the information would prejudice the bargaining position of the town.